So I do expect to see Circuit pretty highly picked up here, and we might see a ban from Epsilon, right? Even though they won that game, they might be scared of that Circuit now.
No, I think so. I think that would actually be a great thing to do. I think while enemy should be running it back, Epsilon doesn't necessarily want to run it back because they were behind there at the start, and I know Ataraxia wants to get that Circuit out of the game.
Yeah, I'm just going to say, right, Europe, you guys have been Paradigm and Epsilon now. You are letting adjust. It says he is playing out of his mind on Circuit every single game. Ban that god. Seriously, like Europe, stop being silly, ban it away. It's too good on him.
Oh, man. All right, guys. Well, I mean, this is it for enemy. Like, you know, they lose this. North America's chances of being the Smite World Champions 2 years in a row are done. Europe will claim the throne. And I just want to say one thing real quick. You know, I support America like anyone else. There are 3 Canadians on enemy. So just be mindful of that when you chant USA. How about like a USA, Canada, you know, like something like that. Mix it up a little bit, you know? In any case, though, guys, are you guys ready in the crowd for game number 3? Because I'm almost certain that you are. You learned a lesson, valuable lesson here today. But without further ado, folks, it is now time for the picks and bans to start for game number 3. Let's get right into this one, folks. Here we go. Do or die time for enemy. Do they make this happen? Do they pull off a miracle and get 3 games in a row to claim that championship? It's already going down. Xingtan and Khepri. Bologna is out of there as well for the bans. What are we going to see out of the 4th ban here? The 2nd for enemy.
Ignoring the bans, enemy has taken order side every single game. Every single game that they have optioned to take order, they've switched it up. This could be a new strategy we haven't seen from them. I talked to Pain, he said he had some different strategies, although it wasn't as consistent. This could be something we've never seen from enemy. We could see some different picks and bans.
I mean, if it's time to pull out something that's not consistent but that works really well, this would be the time, because when you're in this do or die situation, let's see what they can pull out. And I'll tell you right now, Athena is not a crazy pick.
I think you just have to pick the Circuit. Because Adapting does have an amazing Circuit as well.
I actually really like this Neith pick right here. We saw how effective game 1 was. Epsilon having Soul and Neith. Take that away. Not to mention Neith is a good counter pick against the Soul.
I don't think it's going to matter, though, because I think we'll probably just see the Chiron and Epsilon or a Medusa. You know, they have other hunters which have shown to be just as effective, if not more effective than Neith.
They took Pain's Gap. This is the exact same thing we saw last game. I guess Athena's already picked up.
He's got his Athena, so he's very happy with that, I'm almost certain.
Yeah, and Geb is a lot of supports love to run Geb against Athena, because when Athena does the taunts, if it's on one person, you can save it very easily with the shield cleansing CC.
Do they take Circuit here, though?
You have to.
It's just been the only. It's just been his most consistent god throughout the tournament. He's had a nice Hunbats, but it wasn't there for game.
Yeah, the Hunbats got shut down, and I think that's the wrong call.
It's still, you know, he's still very good on Hunbats.
Yeah, but
game 1 though, it wasn't.
He got shut down in game 1, like embarrassingly, in my opinion. Like it was the Circuit played a factor in their success in game 2, despite them losing. It was still a factor. I don't know. I just don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, I think it comes down a lot, too, to where Europe doesn't have that much practice time against Circuit, right? They don't favor Circuit so much, so it is one of those picks where, you know, you pick it because the enemy doesn't know how to play against it. Not to mention it's so strong.
It just feels like it was working, and it has been working for them. It hasn't failed them yet.
This feels like game 1 picks and bans all over again.
It does.
It is,
yeah,
right?
Except for it's going to be a Chiron or a Medusa mid.
This Epsilon esports draft is absolutely brilliant right now.
They got what they wanted.
Yep, there
and
we
it's
go.
going to be the
same thing, but without the Neith. We have a Medusa instead, which I love because I think Yammyn's Medusa is probably the best in the world right now, and he runs it in mid as well. So Hunter's,
you had mentioned Adonis before. You said he has some. Oh, wait a minute. No.
You're trolling. Honestly, right now
against a Geb, though, Geb could get
I want Agni. I would love to see Agni here.
Anubis against.
He's hovering on it for a long time.
I would imagine Agni over Zhong.
Please,
this is his last chance to bring out his Agni at Worlds if they're going to lose this game. Not the Zhong. Come on, Agni. Khaos, your Agni was amazing. I want to see your Agni again.
I love Zhong as much as the next guy, but that was the Agni pick.
Ooh.
So BM. All right. I mean, go ahead, boys. Predictions.
It's the same draft, but with a Medusa. So in my eyes, you know, I think for Epsilon, that makes it better. So Epsilon.
It seems that we have the first European world champions coming at us after this game.
I like Enemy's draft, I really do, but it didn't work the first time they ran it.
You know, Lightning, they really want Lightning to strike here. They need something, but Epsilon Esports will go down as your 2016 Smite World champions, in my opinion. But we will see. You never know. Of course, folks, this could very well be it. Will Epsilon claim their title, or will Enemy force a game number 4? Let's go ahead and take it over to the casters, boys.
Thank you very much, Alex. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the commentary desk for what could be the final time here from the Smite World Championship 2016, as Epsilon is poised to knock out Enemy and claim that flag and Mjolnir trophy.
Easy game, easy life.
It appears that way. I mean, you got to think what it took for Titan and Cloud9 in last year's World Championships. It was all about the pocket picks, and Enemy has gone back to this tried but not true method against Epsilon with the Athena, the Neith, these usual suspects, the Hun bots, and we haven't seen it be very successful.
Yeah, I mean, it could be that Enemy thinks 1 or 2 mistakes what really cost them the game, and if they clean up their play, this team comp will work for them.
I mean, you got to. The thing that I think is most suspect is going back to the Zhong yet again. Not that Khaos has not had a great game, but
Agni is amazing.
yeah, those range stuns could really help change the way the team fights go. Instead of being so reliant on getting Zhong free in the fights and able to channel that full ultimate, they could have relied on a ranged DPSer. And again, they're going to give adapting Thor 3 games in a row, which, I mean, some players like it, some players don't like it, but you got to think, if they're going to go for it this many times, that he's just going to get more and more and more comfortable with each rep.
I want to see them do something different. You know, the reason that Cloud9 fell to Enemy, rather Epsilon, wasn't picks. It wasn't because of Neith. It wasn't because of, you know, really Hun bots. It was because they kept picking the same thing over and over.
It's because of Fenrir.
And allowing adapting to adapt to their comp. That's what he does. But Enemy's done the same thing.
Exactly. Epsilon has done a great job this tournament in just picking differently and always, you know, giving the enemy a hard time in predicting exactly what they're going to pick. Who predicts Medusa mid?
Well, yeah, that's exactly it. Epsilon has 2 or maybe 3 like discreetly different styles that they can play in terms of the pick and banning phase. And it doesn't seem like anybody from North America came prepared with, you know, multiple different compositions. It seemed like, you know, going out of Super Regionals, everyone was kind of content to trade the same picks back and forth and play the same, you know, 15, 16 God pool. But here, Epsilon, they're going to put Medusa in the mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest difference between the regions. You know, North America, we love our meta picks. We love Shrink Temple alone every game, you know, Zhong, Isis mid every game, or Giannis every game, and Neith every game. So, yeah. I mean, that's the big difference here, and EU is making their strategies work.
emiltoo took a lot of damage there, a lot more than I think he was willing to take. I mean, with
sometimes you just bait yourself with that ability, right? When you try to disapparate, you're like, oh, I'm going to stun him, so you move forward and you take extra poke, and then nothing happens.
Yeah, the biggest thing is, you know, there's a 3-second window until it procs, and you're like, okay, I could go in here, and it's like, when is the 3 seconds going to happen? You know, take all this damage.
Oh, dashing right through. PainDeViande taking some archer damage here. Needs to be really careful. He's getting slow, but emiltoo slightly off the mark with that stellar burst.
Still a ton of damage coming out onto that Athena. That's going to start burning through those health bots. Granted, Pain is sitting on 3 of them, now down to 2.
iRaffer going into the jungle here. It looks like we'll group up with Adapting and Yammyn.
All right, it's important that Enemy does not give up a first blood to Adapting's Thor before his ultimate again in this game. I mean, that's really been the key to success for the early game for Epsilon.
And look at this, over on the right side, they did the same thing. Out of the lane comes saltmachine to team up with Adapting. Oh, I mean, rather, what is this? PainDeViande blocked off. He needs to be very careful. Good taunt. Does he have the dash? Does he have the dash? He might not. Another first blood for Adapting. Bart,
no.
The commentator's curse strikes.
Commentator's curse indeed there. This game actually opens up the exact same way. Hunbots rotates to proxy between the tier 2 and the tier 1 tower on the order side to take the left side back camp there, right as Adapting moves into the lane. And that's twice now that Adjust has found himself out of position, more in position to far. Khaos in a lot of trouble here. He's going to stun to spin to win. He needed to save that stun until the spin was out. He gets a return kill, but still, that's a 2-0 start for Adapting on Thor.
And a 450 pot in the garbage.
That's right, yeah. Now, did Medusa load out with a red pot?
Yeah,
I mean, that's not Transcendence.
That was definitely worth for Khaos. You can see how powerful these walls are against Enemy's team comp. Khaos can't get out of it, and PainDeViande can't get out of it. Look for all the pressure to go on those 2 gods.
Yeah, Khaos does drop that pot, and as you mentioned, Brandis, the Transcendence rush from Medusa, so she'll end up actually quite a bit, about 500-600 gold ahead after that trade, even with the kill going to, well, enemies Khaos mid laner. Dimi gonna get some mana back from the Lurking in the Water Sobek ultimate, and also, well, explode a one wave.
He's gonna get some of his mana back, right?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Back to full, he controls the lane again. Salt Machine without a blue buff, probably gonna be looking to go back pretty soon.
Well, you know, he's got plenty of gold in hand to move into the teleport at his leisure, looking to finish off those boots where he's at right now. Just a couple hundred more gold to get him back to lane.
Yeah, he's got the boots ready now. He would have exactly enough, but he wants 300 more gold to get that teleport and control the lane. But if he uses it too early, or in fact, if he uses it too late, it's going to be very hard for him to rotate against the Sobek.
Yeah,
And it's the magical moment. The wards are starting to fall, and adapting is starting to roam.
yeah, they really want to put pressure on this Neith. Again, Neith is one of the easiest hunters to gank in the game, especially for a Thor. Or they could go for gold.
No, not actually.
PainDeViande's not even beginning to rotate.
Not actually, right?
Khaos is underneath the tower, adapting.
Real? This is real.
Got it.
Yeah, Adapting's taking this one up. The Stone Shield coming through as well. emiltoo now going to trade off.
Wow.
And it's a 3.5-minute Gold Fury.
They didn't even need mid. Mid didn't even rotate. Yammyn stayed there to bait Khaos, and by the time they actually sniff this out, Adjust walks in to see the gold go right into the pocket.
Well, the call was that Adapting is missing, you know, get underneath your towers because we don't have the ward coverage and Thor may be up, but instead they just ate the map objective.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing there was the purple of spawn, so it's not out of the ordinary for the hunter and support to leave the lane.
In fact, it's every game that Epsilon has gone and aggressed into the enemy purple buff.
Exactly. So enemy's call was, oh, don't worry, they're just doing their purple buff. They're just doing their purple buff. And by the time they actually realized it's taking too long, the Gold Fury was already dropped.
Left side camp's going to be going to enemy. A small win there after losing the Gold Fury. Yammyn stuck under the tower at level 6. But I'm sure is not too unhappy with the way things have progressed. The 3,200 gold, that not only gives him his Transcendence, but either a level of beads or, of course, the Boots Eater.
One big thing that Aurora was saying, you know, in the break between the games, remember Aurora from the cast earlier. No, do we not have enough mana, I don't think, to secure this.
Adapting's
now
here.
Oh, this is going to be a fight. Adapting's going to go up into the air, and he's going to live for now. He's going to make his way back to the tier 2, but they will concede the blue buff. Will Epsilon, as enemy's going to clear out this right side jungle. But yeah, Aurora was saying basically that enemy, I mean, the key to the success for them this whole tournament, and even into the super regionals, was Geb and Khepri. And instead they've picked and prioritized Athena in every game.
That Gold Fury winds up not being too worth, considering how long they were out of lanes and how much they've given up because they didn't back and heal correctly. You can see the experience difference is 2,200, although not wave to wave, in favor of enemy.
Exactly. The thing is, this early in the game, the waves tend to be the most valuable component of XP and gold. So once Epsilon took the Gold Fury, they all had it back. Enemy got a lot of waves, and they were able to get that level advantage, and then they pushed their advantage in invading Adapting's jungle.
Still 2-1. Epsilon leads smallly. I mean, the gold difference really isn't that big. Honestly, I feel like enemy has the lead here.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they have the experience lead. Absolutely, the gold is very, very even. But Epsilon, I think, is winning the mind games right now with that early Gold Fury.
It's still a 3-level advantage across the board for enemy, which could result in something big. I want to see it just take the fight out pretty soon.
And the biggest thing is XP is much more valuable than gold in the early stages of the game.
Scaling is through the roof.
Scaling
you're
is
gaining
insane.
health, you're gaining damage on your abilities. I mean, there's a lot to it. And with that, enemy does have a small advantage here. I would like to see them use it. Adjust's ult should be coming up pretty soon.
Well, the boots are double tap Adapting. Yeah, he's going to be leveling up that hammer yet again. 4-1-1-1 build out of the level 7 Thor.
Looks like Yammyn 5 stacks now on the Transcendence, so that's a pretty big power spike. Another 1,250 gold he'll need to be able to get into the boots for a second one.
Besides that, boots done across the board.
Yeah, the enemy already brought the game back to even in gold. They pushed their advantage in XP. They invaded the 2 buffs. They got mid harpies, and then they got their buffs. Game's even.
Gold did not work out at all. It was a cool play, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about the farm. That experience difference is paramount.
Well, guys, if you are just joining us here, 6.5 minutes in, it's 2-1 in favor of Epsilon, and they're up 2-0 in this game. In this matchup. It's a best of 5 or a first to 3. Epsilon is on championship point versus the North American top contender in enemy, and the game is very, very even through the first 7 minutes here. And looks like there will be a skirmish breaking out on the left side of the map near the Gold Fury.
emiltoo placing the Radiance down, small amount of healing, plus of course getting himself to have maximum heat. This is going to ensure an extra amount of damage and attack speed, but he doesn't use it. It will fall off. Left side purple to fall as the invade begins, but I don't think Adapting's willing to give this one up for free.
Yeah, I mean, love what the enemy is doing. They're finally putting the pressure on Epsilon. Epsilon right now is on the back foot, and this is getting Adjust ahead.
And Adjust needs to be ahead. We've seen what happens when Adjust does not get ahead early. It generally doesn't work out for them too much. iRaffer taking a lot of damage, forced to use that stone shield early. Doesn't even lose the whiff.
So hard to fight this dual lane out of the Epsilon team. Nice backflip coming out from Vetium there. Shades of what we saw from him in the past. But with emiltoo going to the disapparate and iRaffer using the stone shield, it's very, very hard for them to do much about it. There's going to be the Fear No Evil, and it looks like it's going to be a return kill. Nicely done.
Wait.
No, it's the Soul Ultimate saving iRaffer and dealing the damage in return. Yammyn getting credit for the kill on the PainDeViande. And Yammyn going to continue to move forward, but I don't think they find another kill on the back of this.
I thought that was definitely going to go in favor of enemy, especially after Yammyn didn't get much off the stone gaze. This is going to give them enough room to move forward, clear this wave, and get back to mid. You can actually see Dimi controlling the mid wave right now to ensure he's getting multiple points of experience. Yammyn back to the jungle here, but won't find much for his rotation.
Yeah, that was a bit interesting. It seemed like their Just was confused after he used his ultimate. He stopped using his abilities, he stopped damaging the Geb, and Geb got away, and they got a return kill.
Perhaps a communication breakdown.
No.
Bottom side, camps being taken here. Yammyn rotates over. He'll notice that the right side mids have been taken as well. Right side blue buff has respawned, and we're going to see, it looks like saltmachine just kind of peeks at it to see if they're doing it. We did see rotations towards the right side. He'll notice that it's free for now, can try to control Dimi.
Yeah, a ton of that experience gap is actually between the Hun bots and the Thor. You'll notice that Thor is ahead in farm with the 2-0-1 KDA, but is behind in experience to the Hun bots.
Yeah, I love the rotation by iRaffer here. They knew the blue buff was coming up and they wanted to guarantee it.
Yeah, they lost both of their buffs in the last rotation, remember. Just is pretty deep here. A little surprised that he's actually going to play that risky just to get a little extra chip onto the Sobek.
Adapting may look to save Yammyn here. No, going to retreat back. They'll pick up the speed buff for free, it seems.
Yeah, no problem taking this one here. And yeah, I mean, I do like that adaptation from Epsilon to go ahead and make sure they can secure this next round of buffs on the right side. I'm sure that Kenneth was giving them hell for not getting his speed buff.
Emiltoo taking the red. This is going to go to him. We know that him and Yammyn like to make sure they're getting, the normal buffs, but swap. That way they can get the purple onto the hunter and the red onto the mage.
Good play by enemy here going for the gold free. They didn't get the buffs on the right side, but what they did is they poked out Epsilon a lot.
CC immunity, good damage, but no follow from adapting. However, emiltoo forcing a Just away immediately. There's no way he can go back in. Adapting, trying for it, could be in some trouble here. Needs another crit. What in the world?
Ooh.
That was the first hit. Worldweaver going to find a return.
Not sure Worldweaver was best used there. It looked like PainDeViande was going to be able to run that one down either way. saltmachine has rotated in. Sobek nowhere to be found in the fight for now. Now Dimi's going to come in. Tail, no, the ability's just not being that successful. Khaos continuing to surge forward, but the separate is there for emiltoo. The burst coming through, it is going to be enough, but not before Khaos will take a spill as well.
Yammyn's here, but he doesn't have a lot of mana.
Yeah, Yammyn's
Vetium here as well.
Dimi's just forced to kind of zone out for the team now, as enemy will get the better of that trade for the moment. Dashing away is Dimi. The lurking in the water is doing a ton of damage there, but still, it's enemy coming out ahead in that trade.
The biggest thing there was the patience on Khaos with the Zhong. He waited for Soul to use her separate, and then he popped his ultimate and chased her down.
Left side mid camp's going to be taken. Gold Fury will stand once again. It seems no team willing to go for it. A 3-for-2 exchange favoring enemy doesn't quite favor them enough to go for the, I think, more dangerous objective on the map. They'll just go for some mid camps, extra experience, extra gold. This adapting rotates back in to just try to get some experience.
Yeah, really impressive that enemy's been able to continue to build on this experience advantage.
Yet the gold remains marginally the same. It's only about 300. I mean, a level of beats might spell the difference, but so far...
That's spread out as 60 gold across 5 players. I mean, it's not factoring in majorly into these fights, but that 3,000 experience is... we were talking about Amir's health scaling at 104, but that doesn't mean that other characters aren't scaling effectively with HP and levels. We are looking at probably a minimum of about 60 or 70 HP per level, even on the Assassins. Adapting finds a 2-man stun and a ton of poke out on the PainDeViande. He's actually liable to look down here as Adapting's going to go up into the sky. Cataclysm and the follow-up Anvil of Dawn as the damage starts to come out. It's been pretty decent AoE from enemy in return, but they're going to pick off 2 targets right away on the side of Epsilon as their single target damage just comes together on top of that Geb Cataclysm.
It looks like Vetium trying to just clear up some waves. He's going to bring it. Looks like PainDeViande back in with his ultimate. Pain full health. Could dive the backline here, but it's a 4v2 full health versus not. Dimi, again, another mischarge prey as he gets taunted. Decent damage, but not enough to truly deter, I would say.
Yeah, but it's bought some time. In the meantime, saltmachine does take a tier 1 on the right side and will continue pushing this wave in, forcing adapting over here as well. It does look like Epsilon is going to move away from the Gold Fury. Yet again, enemy has scared them off, and now enemy will be the ones starting to aggress into the Lady in Gold.
This is visible. They know this is happening.
Yeah, maybe they want to try to bait enemy into thinking they don't, but no, now emiltoo will...
Yeah, they just don't need to contest right away. It's only Vetium and PainDeViande on it.
one of the supports, maybe both of the supports to fall here. Yeah, I'm not sure why Pain chose to go in for that. I don't know that that was entirely worth, considering iRaffer was level 8.
Emiltoo's solo ultimates have been really, really on point, but you know, he does expend a massive teamfight AoE ultimate in exchange for a single life, and now the Gold Fury's going to be started up again from enemy, and they have a bit of a power play here, but Adapting's going to turn the corner big.
And this time around, Osiris is in the team fight.
emiltoo pretty low, activates the Radiant and the Corporeal form to try to heal and get out of that one. Once again, the Gold Fury gets pulled. One of the longest engagements we've seen at this camp for quite some time.
Oh my god, the damage from that Mjolnir's attunement on Adapting with Jotun's Wrap done in the max level. It just crushes Zhong there. Judgment Tether going to be used by Osiris, taking a ton of poke in return. The stun from Adapting, yes, going to lock out Salt Machine from making it back to that tier 1, but no follow-up from Epsilon.
And looks like they're going to concede the Gold Fury finally. It's been a long engagement here at the center camp.
Yeah, the biggest thing there is even though Epsilon was at a disadvantage, they do such a great job of poking with Thor that forces enemy off the Gold Fury.
And Dimi using his charge prey to get back to right lane as fast as possible. Wants to make sure he's not missing this experience. He's level 14 and behind right now. He's also out of mana.
Yeah, Salt Machine's come up pretty big here in this game so far as Osiris in terms of his farm. We heard earlier, you know, Osiris kind of maybe considered the best warrior lane dominator that's currently in the game. I believe that was Zatman talking about that a bit earlier. And indeed, that seems to be the case here. 0-0 and 3 for Salt Machine, but ahead in net worth and experience over the Sobek.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is, can he translate that lead into big team fights, big objective games? Whereas Dimi here, he's the one with the 2 kills. Osiris really hasn't made his presence felt.
Yeah, I mean, once upon a time, you used to see, you know, chin size or an executioner come out on Osiris to really transition into that damage build. But, I mean, these days, you're lucky to see an Iqbal in the 6th slot. So, I mean, Osiris as a damage dealer is not going to be too threatening until much, much later in this game.
Adapting on the bottom side, clearing up red. Yammyn's here. Is he going to pick it up or are they going to save it for Soul? He's going to grab it. Soul has the purple. She rotates down, 4-man split on the backhand.
Yeah, it looks like they haven't really turned the corner yet to where they want to start swapping who gets what buff. I think Soul, you know, needs probably at least one base attack speed item or the Polynomicon to make that red buff more worthwhile.
Exactly. They're definitely waiting for Soul to get the Polynomicon. Wow.
How in the world?
It's just that acid spray plus Mjolnir's attunement poke damage.
And this is why they gave the red to Medusa, for that extra burst damage on her abilities.
Gold Fury again getting gestured here as iRaffer walks towards. It looks like the vision still belongs to blue. Sentry wards in the inventory for a lot of the members of enemy. In fact, just Khaos and PainDeViande all have them. It looks like Khaos places his down forced at the top side, and you'll notice it was pinged out by the boys in blue.
This game just feels like Epsilon's waiting to go off. I mean, they're just waiting to pick that one spot where they're going to go completely all in. Enemy's lineup in comparison's a little bit more difficult, I think, to pull off here because they have to make room in these team fights for Khaos to channel that ultimate fully, which means that Adjust needs to get a big ultimate of his own, and Salt Machine needs to fully disrupt the backline.
Yeah, and one of the interesting things to note is the build path of both support players. iRaffer went for max actives right away, where PainDeViande doesn't have a single active yet.
Yeah, and take a look at Raffer there, just sitting on basically a vest.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got cooldown boots and almost no defensive items.
Adjust very smart to blink away when he did. Almost took a big shot. A wasted ward as it gets dropped down and not picked off. Another one will be placed, and this time belonging to blue. They're out of sentry wards in the inventory, but Adjust still manages to have when they should belong. The Vision War fight should belong to them, but they're starting the Gold Fury so haphazardly.
Yammyn in the front line there, kind of uncharacteristically for your Hunter, but still zoning out fairly effectively. Salt Machine into the backside. Judgment Tether looking pretty good. Up into the air will be going Thor. That will stop the Judgment Tether from coming out. And this is a big Zhong ultimate, but can they block him out? Salt Machine isolated here. Yammyn kept alive just barely by Stone Shield. He's going to have a very hard time. Lacerate. No! 2 kills. The Spirit Flail over the top. And Salt Machine continues in underneath the tower. Dimi is here. Tail Whip could be enough to keep him locked in. Yes! Indeed! He will go down, but not before fighting. Also,
in the back line, emiltoo is back. He's trying for damage on the PainDeViande. He looks big ult coming out, but he's trying for more. He's very low health. He's not going to get much more than that.
Yeah, he's going to go into the incorporeal form here, but enemy finally comes up big in one of these team fights. They get the Zhong ultimate they were looking for, but porting into this tower, Khaos is going to be in a lot of trouble. Who is it? It's Adapting with a stun. The double tap, and down you go. You're done, son.
The biggest thing in that team fight was finally Salt Machine making his presence felt. He tethered 3 people. He took out 2 carries. And they won the team fight.
Adapting, clearing up in the left lane. You'll see the goal difference still about 750, experience still about 37 to 4,000 at any given time. Not much has been done, I would say, over the past 7 or 8 minutes. We've kind of been stagnating in this one area. Ooh, all right, just gonna be very mad about that attempt at that steal.
Yeah, the interesting thing is we've had a lot of team fights, but each team fight has been so close that no team has really been able to break it open.
more damage. Just getting much more out of this, though. It doesn't seem like Adapting is chunking 50 or 60% of his health anymore. It's getting closer to a third now. But he's not going into defense. He's going right into crit.
Yeah, but on the side of Adapting here, he's going to have that Mail of Renewal up pretty shortly. I mean, he did find that kill onto the enemy solo later and got some nice free farm time over here in this left lane. He's getting closer to this item, and then there's really no... Well, there's no built-in anti-heal, and it doesn't seem anybody's going to be itemizing into anti-heal on the side of enemy. It'll be very hard to lock down Thor, getting those the benefit of those Geb shields as well with the Mail of Renewal.
The gold lead has shrunk a bit, only about 400 to 500 gold now as opposed to the 8.
Yeah, and one thing I would really like to see is enemy to push the pace of this game. Right now they have a huge advantage in their solo laner, being level 18. It does a lot of damage.
Oh, Pain finds a two-man taunt here, and they're going to look to pile in some damage. Yammyn's going to dash away. Heavenly Agility popped as well. And that should be the end of this engagement for the moment, but fairly low on mana and HP between Adapting and Yammyn. Enemy could be thinking about sieging this tier 1.
I think they are. You can actually see Vetium start to rotate into the jungle. He's going around top side to meet up with the rest of his team, and iRaffer is going to spot most of this. I'm expecting some kind of contest, but if he steps out of position, he's going to get destroyed.
Fitting that Epsilon here in their championship point match is going to be riding the back of Adapting. 5-1-3 on the Thor. emiltoo in a lot of trouble here now on his soul. Will get into the disapparate form, and is going to try to make it out. Cataclysm is going to expend it as well. Adjust very, very low. He's forced out, and somehow emiltoo on the back of the captain, iRaffer, will survive that engagement.
Yeah, Adjust is going to watch that video later on and just yell at himself for not ulting there. I mean, that was an absolutely free kill, and he didn't take it.
Yeah, I mean, another 1 HP shield by iRaffer gave Soul enough time to get into her corporal form and just walk out of there.
There's no way he's getting away from this one. Enemy finding a big kill there.
You know, and if Epsilon goes on to win this game, probably the hardest thing that the analysts will have to do this entire weekend is figure out who the MVP is on this team.
Oh, my God. I mean, Yammyn... Adjust. I say Adjust. I forgot. Wrong team. I mean, he's just playing so well. Maybe not this game entirely, but his set against Paradigm yesterday was so good.
Yeah, I mean, you're just looking at just so many great players here involved in this match, and especially on the side of Epsilon. All of these guys, I think, are contenders for the best player in the tournament.
Salt Machine taking some decent damage there, but the tether actually winds up keeping Yammyn honest. They're going to try to burst this down, it seems. PainDeViande backs to the base, but still has a presence with Defender of Olympus. There it is.
Wow, they'll use the Defender of Olympus ultimate as well. They're going to try to burst down Yammyn. They'll get some decent damage out of that, plus the Psycho Crusher from Osiris. Dimi takes a decent amount of poke, but he's not too worried with the Sobek. He's very, very resilient, still sitting over well over 1,000 HP, even though he's down to under a third. The stun comes out from Adapting to try to slow them down. It'll only isolate PainDeViande, which I do not think is going to get up. No, Blinking Black in with 2 now. His enemies, they want to re-engage here. Can they burst out Dimi in time? Indeed, they can. But here comes the return.
No!
It's a huge ultimate coming out of Yammyn. Can they find the kill onto Adjust? Yes, of course they can. Raffer now going to try to make his way out, slowed down by the sickle. He'll have a rollout momentarily, but it will not be in time. Enemy does get the better of that trade. They're going to try to transition this into a Gold Fury as well.
They have 4 versus 3 here. No ultimates available across the board. And it doesn't look like anyone... Actually, no, it does look like they're going to make the attempt here. Yammyn on the right side going for buffs, but Adapting not willing to give this up.
Let's see. I mean, in theory, Mjolnir's Attunement is the highest burst damage ability on the map right now that's still up, with the exception of maybe both hits of the shield wall, but they don't happen fast enough. Mjolnir's Attunement off the mark, and Adapting is going to be forced to ult out of this one.
Yeah, it was good play by Adapting. There was no reason for him not to try to contest that. He had his get out of jail free card in his ultimate.
Well, all things told here, guys, through 20 minutes and 47 seconds, it's 11-11, dead even in terms of kills, but enemy is up in gold and experience now as well. You see a quick pause coming out from the players here as they're looking to sort something out, guys. What's the key to victory? I mean, how can enemy make it back into this one? I'm sorry, make it through this one and into the 4th game.
They just got to keep doing what they're doing. They're baiting out a lot of abilities on Epsilon's side, and then they're re-engaging with the Zhong ult and really making them pay.
I want to see more pressure from Adjust. I mean, there were a few times where Adjust just didn't ult or he ulted late. I feel like if he would initiate on these team fights and let Pain be the reinitiator as he uses his jump to get out, sure, I think that would be much more effective. 3 kills have been dropped so far.
Exactly. You know, in the other series, Adjust seems so sure of himself. We've been calling out his name a lot because he's making all these clutch plays. But in this series, he seems a little bit hesitant with his ability.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah, I mean, he definitely seems a little bit timid. You know, maybe it's the land nerves, maybe it's the land sickness. Who knows, man? It's always something. The nerd flu goes around easily. These things, and well, all things told here, enemy at least in a good position in this game to try to take it to the 4th. I mean, let's talk like actual keys to victory here. The objective play has been a little bit sloppy in this game, I think, from both teams. And we've seen really, really long Gold Fury engagements continuing on now into this 3rd game. it seemed to benefit Epsilon. And what's a little worrisome here is that this game seems to be on the same track as game 2, where Enemy keeps it very, very close. Will pull ahead by a few thousand gold here from about the 20 to 27 minute mark, and then it kind of comes down to can they finish or will Epsilon surge back?
Yeah, the biggest thing here is Enemy needs to play discipline. In the last game, they did have a small lead, and they pushed it too hard, diving tier 2s, doing gold furies when they were half HP, half mana. If they can avoid those kind of small mistakes, they can take this game.
But as we've seen, the longer the game goes, the less Zhong becomes important. You know, the scaling he
The
gets from
stopping
his
power
passive.
is what really is what falls off for him.
Right, well, I mean, the passive isn't as effective. You know, those protections are much more effective in the early game because they're a static number and not percent. The late game damage isn't as effective as the shells and more defense come out. I think they need to be quicker. They need to be more precise in their engagements, and I don't want to see them be patient. I want to see them rush this down and lock adapting away, force him to make decisions he doesn't want to make, because when you give him the pace setting, he's going to take it.
Now, do you guys think that Enemy has improved enough from game 2 to take down this game 3? Because, like I mentioned earlier at the end of game 2, was that, you know, game 1 to game 2, there's that small adjustment, and you see in game 2, okay, look, they seem to have a better game plan. Going game 2 to game 3, it's looking like they've improved a little bit more, but is it going to be enough? I mean, it's usually in situations like this, you think, okay, a 4th game Enemy probably wins, but can they put it together now instead of just going for that incremental, you know, experience game? Can they really, like, show something new here with these kind of old and tired picks?
Yeah, I mean, what Enemy really needs to do here is ride the back of that Osiris. Right now, he's so far ahead of everyone else. They need to pressure his side of the map, pressure the jungle of Epsilon, let him not feel comfortable, and try to take objectives off that.
And I like the Osiris pick, though. This has been very strong. There's been so much strength for them going, like for when they went into the tier 2, the double kill with the Spirit Flail, and then he continues to dive. Maybe a little bit more patience from Saltmachine. Everyone else needs to get more aggressive. On Epsilon, it's just, they have 2 characters that are very squishy and easy to gank. I mean, Medusa's dash is easily interrupted. It's a 3-second charge up for the corporeal form. She's very susceptible to death. I mean, they have to be more aggressive on both sides.
Yeah, they've had a hard time really getting to the back lines and finding that soul. Really, it's also much they've had trouble getting back there. They've had trouble dealing with iRaffer. Maybe they need to pay a little bit more attention to where that Geb is. Lock him down when they look for these kills as well, because Soul and the Medusa, they don't have a tremendous amount of HP. Their problem isn't necessarily killing the target, it's preventing the Stone Shield from saving them.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it always seems like Raffer's in the perfect spot to get that 1 HP Geb shield save, and then they just walk out, you know. But he has been paying the price, though. He has fallen a few times this game, so Enemy's really making him pay.
Do you think that Enemy can win this?
Yeah, I think they can. I mean, they're
right?
sitting with an advantage, at 20 minutes. I mean, Smart Money says they win this game, but we saw last game makes me a little bit nervous, guys. What do you think out there in the audience? Let me hear you make some noise if you think Epsilon is going to go on to be the Smite World Champion.
I see a lot of blue in the crowd.
Yeah, there seems to be some good support for those guys, but who of you out there in Twitch chat or in the audience are voting for Enemy to push this into a 4th game?
I think Enemy takes it.
It sounds like the crowd a little bit expecting Epsilon to go ahead and move on and find this this victory here and bring the first World Championship home to Europe.
Well, launch tournament.
Not a World
That
Championship.
doesn't count. That doesn't count.
It's an Atlantic Championship.
Young Bay's sitting somewhere like, I won that tournament.
Yeah, as a Malaysian, he's like, I was international.
He's going to get a ring today, maybe, yeah?
Yeah, maybe. This rings, if you guys haven't seen them, both trophies, medals, and rings going to the players here. They'll be well adorned if they are able to take this one down on the side of Epsilon.
The money is so important, you know, the fame of being the world champion. But, I mean, for me, it's just, I want to grab that hammer, man. Like, that trophy is the most important thing to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's at this level of game, you know, or stage in your careers that you put so much time and effort into it. It's really not about the money. What it is proving that all that hard work you put in and dedication was for something. You are the best team in the world, and nothing beats that.
Yeah, I mean, Epsilon's really, you know, they've had that path. They've had a lot of trial and tribulation on their path to the World Championship here. I mean, we go back to iRaffer getting suspended from the game, which resulted in Epsilon not qualifying at the end of the last split, right? And then they make it into the 3rd split, and now they've qualified for Worlds. And it seemed like, you know, there was always some doubt with this roster of, you know, could they keep it together? Could they stay, you know, kind of on top of their game? And they drop a game in the regular season of Fnatic, but what's interesting for them is that it wasn't kind of the beginning of a slide in which they start slumping and they start looking like a different team. They really kept it together.
I mean, I think that's kind of the same thing for Enemy, too. It's a roster. Like, can they keep it together? Are these players good enough, right? I mean, these were 4 players that were generally unknown.
Yeah, oh yeah. A Moneyball team.
Yeah, they're both Moneyball teams.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, you know, a little bit
what
more.
to do.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just on that topic. You know, actually, enemy. I play a lot of ranked. I know a lot of players. I didn't really know exactly who was on enemy, and you know they had a decent performance during the SPL, but then at LAN they really turned it up. I don't know what they did, whether it was the boot camp, whether it was their coach, but their picks and bans were on point. They developed some kind of strategy that worked for them, and you know here they are.
Now
in
it
the
comes down to
finals.
can they adapt that strategy into something bigger and better, right? Because they came up with the strategy that works. It took them through super regionals. It took them to the final game, but it hasn't seemed to be enough to topple Epsilon. What can they do? I mean, what adjustments?
No, they don't
can
want to adapt. They want to adjust.
Right. Okay. Yeah. They want to adjust to Epsilon. Yeah, but I mean, you're right. All things told, right? Is it shutting down adapting? Is that the key here?
It's so far it seems to be, but in this game, I'd be more worried about Yammyn and emiltoo. I mean, both of those guys are on carries. I mean, they're pretty susceptible to ganks.
Yeah.
We've already seen some defense come out from adapting. They got to take down the damage.
Well, that's a good point. I mean, are we liking the late game better for Epsilon in this contest with the double hunters?
If they can get there.
No, they do. They have Soul. Soul is one of the biggest damaging late game carries that there is in the game. You know, backed by a hunter, it's going to be tough for enemy.
Well, guys, some of the words you've been waiting to hear. Let's go ahead and move ourselves back into the game here as it's going to be the conclusion of game number 3, enemy versus Epsilon. Championship point for the boys in blue.
Continues on at 11-11 just to catch you guys up. For those of you watching around the world, let's go to the graphs.
Well, you got 5,000 experience and 2,800 gold in favor of enemy. Eerily familiar to what we saw at this point in the last game as well. It comes down now to objective play from both teams. Can this next Fire Giant break the game wide open for enemy, or will Epsilon come up with another big team fight?
Yeah, I mean, at this stage of the game, respawn timers are starting to get long. One small mistake will cost the other team the Fire Giant, and most likely all their towers after that.
Let's be sure to highlight saltmachine here. A 3-level advantage over Sobek. Now 2 levels as Dimi does just ding 18. And a large amount of net worth as well, about 1,500 or so.
A bet I would have lost. We'll go to the damage charts, and you'll notice Osiris slightly below Sobek.
Wow, yeah.
It's only like 140, but I mean, I still would not have
it's you
expected
know, some
it.
of those multi-target sickening strikes in these fights. Oh, we're going to have a fight breaking out here on the left side. There's going to be a port in as well from Dimi. He's going to be a little bit too late,
That's
but
trouble.
here comes adapting, going to be able to chase this one down. The Soul Ultimate is on the mark. PainDeViande in a bit of trouble here as Yammyn is right hot on his tail. The dot should be enough to take him down. Indeed it is. In will come saltmachine.
Adjust on the back line, looking for something. He has an ult opportunity, but I think they just took too long to get on this side of the map. Epsilon, like that man said, that's a long respawn timer for PainDeViande, though he does have a way back into lane very quickly.
Yeah, Epsilon is just so quick at rotating. You know, enemy said, okay, emiltoo's alone. Let's try to aggress on him for a little bit, and they paid the price.
How do you feel about the runic shield here on Osiris?
Oh, absolutely. It's going to shut down attack speed for everyone on the other side of the teams. And then, of course, reducing magic damage for their 3 core. I think that's a really good play.
But here's the issue with what enemy has drafted into this Epsilon lineup. That Soul Polynomicon Pen Boots build takes down the towers very, very easily. Even the shortest siege situation is going to take 50% of your tower's health. And you see this, both the outside lane tier 1s are liable to go down to the Soul, even with the smallest window.
Only a 2,000 gold difference between the teams. Enemy with a small lead needs to start pressuring. Uh-oh, PainDeViande coming in. Not
Oh, look,
get
they want to
any
isolate the
damage.
Neith here now, and of course the Athena on her back as well, slowing down this push for now. The wave clear is pretty good here with the Soul and the Medusa from range, so it's going to be very hard for enemy to get those pot shots in on the tower.
A full 5v5 grouping here in the center, bottom center part of the map. I don't see enemy continuing this pressure, despite the fact that they do still have a small lead.
Yeah, I mean, Epsilon really doesn't want to fight right now. What they want to do is they want to be able to farm up their penetration items. Medusa needs to finish her Executioner. Soul needs to finish his Obsidian Shard, and then they can start looking to team fight and taking them.
Do you think the Obsidian Shard over the Spear of the Magus in this particular situation?
Yeah, I think he's going to go into Obsidian Shard because he went for Pen Boots. He wants to. He's building for his 2 damage. He's not building for auto attack.
It's definitely been the favored build for emiltoo on his Soul as well, and really it's only Sobek to follow up in the magic damage category.
They're actually still giving the red buff to Yammyn. Note the build, still pretty high damage, but with the Polynomicon, I would have expected it going to her.
Well, I mean, it just indicates to me that they want that that guaranteed poke out of the acid spray versus the damn near guaranteed poke out of Soul, right?
I was gonna say.
Yeah, but still, I mean, the code is a little bit more reliable. Plus, it's an instant application of the damage versus that kind of delayed damage. So this is who they're relying on specifically for the wave clear, it appears.
I love this Neith build, by the way, Zab. Check it out. I mean, selling off the starter item, getting the execution, now going to crit with a decent amount of attack speed, and then, of course, tankiness with the Soul Eater. I think this is like covering a lot of bases.
Yeah, I mean, he really wanted to get his penetration item on. You know, he didn't know when the next team fight would be. And if he was 500 gold down, you know, before getting it, it's worth selling your starting item to pick up the pin item.
Yammyn, almost the same thing. You'll see him starting the light blade here, but a little bit of ways. I mean, only 600 gold down. Is combos from
Cataclysm onto 2. The knock up on Assault Machine as well. Judgment Tether comes out. The Neith ultimate going to come through as well. World Weaver going to be blocked up by iRaffer.
The issue there is that they were so trying to stop this World Weaver from hitting their carry that they all took a Spirit Flail.
Yeah, a couple extra 100 damage going the way of Salt Machine there as the team stacks up. But no more damage coming out on to Yammyn. He's going to be probably begging Soul to leave a couple of those creeps standing so he can lifesteal some.
Over on the left side, Gold Fury about to spawn, but a major grouping on the right with very little to gain here. Top side blue buff just getting taken. Right side bottom blue buff going to be taken as well.
Yeah, with the Gold Fury coming up, this is enemy's chance to push their lead. This is their chance to break the game open. I really want to see them get vision control around the Gold Fury, force Epsilon to start face checking it and make plays.
Yeah, getting that Athena to dash in and find that two-man taunt as they try to turn the corner and spot if the Gold Fury is being picked up could be the key to success here for enemy. They do still enjoy a moderate lead as well in the gold and experience department now through 26 minutes. But they are down 2 games to 0 here in this best of 5.
I wouldn't have expected both Adjust and Khaos to be riding in the bottom 5 of damages. You know, early game Batz and Zhong. Look at that.
Yeah, Zhong, you know, he's gone. His build-up is a little bit more conservative than what you might normally expect here. That ward going to be cleaned up, in fact, by the 2 members of enemy before they come in. Dimi's going to come in too late now on the Sobek and is liable to fall here. Although in will come adapting as well into the back line onto Vetium. Seems to be the target of choice. The wall is going to be there as well to stall them out, but no more rallying in from Epsilon. It will be a clean Gold Fury by enemy.
That was a very important one, but considering the gold spike had come down a little bit, you'll notice right back up to the 3,500 where they spiked at before.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly what I wanted to see enemy do. They're pushing their lead. They're taking the fights when they know they're stronger. And it was a bit interesting that Epsilon seemed like they were out of position. It seemed like they didn't know that this was happening. But, you know, as soon as adapting dunked, there was really no follow-up.
I mean, is it maybe just a little bit of lack of wherewithal coming out of that pause? You know, the comms get a little changed up, and all of a sudden, enemy's able to sneak this Gold Fury. Dimi, of course, his first port in was interrupted. Maybe that indicates a little bit more about of why that went so wrong.
Exactly. That could have been a call. Oh, my port was interrupted. My port was interrupted. Let's back off. Let's back off.
Speaking of ports in, Salt Machine going to bring PainDeViande on the back line. It looks like the speed buff was stolen away successfully as Salt Machine begins to swing into Dimi. You'll notice that Midgardian Mail trying to slow him down for a bit. They're going to fling Salt Machine back. Decent damage, but I don't think this is going to
Neith is way out of this fight as well. This is a 5v4 for now. The Soul's been coming out onto Salt Machine, dealing a moderate amount of damage here as well. Adapting through the wall with the stun is good. Can they secure the kill on the Salt Machine? Doesn't matter. It just does go down to emiltoo. On the backside, still looking for this kill on the Salt Machine is Dimi. One more Sickening Strike should do it. Can anyone kill this guy?
It's a let it go situation, I think, but his team has been baited so hard by the result. Look at this, they've already gotten 2. Bad wall this time from Adapting, slows his team down. Vetium looks like he should be the target. Double tap not to hit. Backflip off the beads from the cooldown. Dimi is still chasing Salt Machine.
He really wants this kill, but the damage is just not really coming out from the Sobek. He can't dive this tower, but he's happy to just isolate Salt Machine completely out of his fight. The rest of the team does fall as Salt Machine is forced to abandon them, and all of a sudden the game is right back in Epsilon's hands.
Fire Giant. I mean, why not? They're going to go right for it right away. They still have 2 hunters with a massive amount of damage.
Yeah, great presence of mind for Epsilon to know that Osiris Salt was down, and Dimi, he stayed in the fight even though it was 3v1. He forced him to back, pluck the Osiris in, and they won the team fight.
I've seen crazier things.
Spirit Flail, yeah, I mean, it's unlikely it's going to seal it there. He actually did have an opportunity as Yammyn was knocked up with the best burst on the squad for this game, but still, nonetheless, it's Fire Giant at 28.5 minutes for Epsilon, and all of a sudden they shoot right back up next to enemy.
Somehow they have an experienced lead at 2,400 when they were down like almost 6,000, and look at the gold lead. 600 in favor of enemy is not going to spell an even route against a Fire Giant buff.
Yeah, and you know, actually one more thing about that team fight is it just thought he had a free kill on the Medusa. He went in and he used his ultimate, but Medusa had the presence of mind and reaction time to use her ultimate. And since it's a channeling ability, she was able to just walk out of the Humbat Salt and burst him down.
PainDeViande has actually done 8,300 damage, slightly more than the Geb, which is to be expected. But the issue is that he's within 500, 600 damage of his jungle, Just, who's normally riding the top of the charts. Where has it just been this game?
Well, they're going to live and die by the Hun bots, it seems.
Yeah, or Circuit.
It's been tough for him. He went for a very, you know, assassinist build where he has no physical protection. He's going in thinking he can make the play, but he keeps getting countered either with beads or with Medusa ult, and it's just been rough for him.
So we got an Obsidian Shard, of course, finish for emiltoo, and now into the Lost Artifact he goes. This spells to me a Rod of Tahuti for a major damage spike, but he's about 2,500 gold away.
Very, very close here to getting the critical mass is Epsilon, as the big items are starting to come out on both sides of the field.
Yeah, exactly. The biggest thing is not only did they have the Fire Giant, but now everyone finished their pen items, and even Thor is working on his third one.
Look at this. Look at Dimi forcing away Khaos and Adjust. They don't go for the speed buff. In fact, it's going to be Salt Machine having to rotate over as Dimi controls their movement. This is going to give a ton of time for Epsilon to rotate to the left side and start putting pressure on that tier 2. Although adapting on the bottom right side, he does have teleport available to him, but it seems like he's slightly out of position.
He wants to push out this right side lane and try to find this tier 2 tower over here while the rest of the team sieges on the left side.
He's going to be successful.
Each shot from emiltoo just does so much damage to the tower with that Polynomicon. They're going to try to go in on the soul, but she does have the Disapparate pop. And now will go into the incorporeal form. Her ultimate going to use as well, and PainDeViande is going to absolutely erased by the Soul, and just going to try to come in and make the play, but just like last time, he's going to get isolated and killed. Zhong moves in as well. Khaos channeling the ultimate. It's doing good damage, and Vetium channeling more for the backside. Salt Machine with an opportunity to make a huge play. Adapting's about to go up. He's going to come crashing down. Who's the target? It's going to be all three, and two will get stunned out.
Oh, no.
Vetium taking tons of damage.
Oh, no.
Khaos wants to move forward.
They don't have enough time for this. They don't have enough time for this.
Down you go. It's a deicide for Epsilon. Can they win off of this, ladies and gentlemen? It could be your world champion.
They're going in for it. The Phoenix gets tanked. They still have Fire Giant. All 5 members still alive. Easy game. Easy life. Epsilon!
iRaffer and the squad gonna move in. A team that was locked out from the earlier splits will go on with one loss to defeat the world. Ladies and gentlemen, Epsilon Esports!
They gave it to Adapting. I love it.
And there you have it, folks. It's all over. Europe reigns supreme on this day. Epsilon are your Smite World Champions. Incredible display of talent from Epsilon. I mean, let us not forget that their road also was met with a lot of challenges as well. Not only at the beginning stages, you know what, one can argue, things were looking all right for them. But when they ran into Fnatic, they ran into Cloud9, all those games could have gone either way. But my goodness, did this team deserve every bit of what they achieved here today.
This is the best team in the world, and they proved it here. And, you know, shout-outs to Enemy as well. That was not an easy set for Epsilon. Game 2 and 3, Enemy had a chance. Those were very competitive games, but Epsilon, Adapting, Yammyn, Dimi, iRaffer, emiltoo, these guys are just some of the best players in their roles, and they proved it.
Hey, what's going on? We'll get to you in a second. Incon, what are your thoughts?
People have been saying that Epsilon Esports is the best team in the world for quite a while, and they have proved it here today by besting all other teams in the tournament, going through an incredible amount of competition, and they are the best team in the world.
I wish I could have said this last year, but I can, with full faith, say this year in Epsilon, European, best region for Smite, world champions, Epsilon.
Ooh.
You know, they did it.
Hey, well, you know what? I mean, Europe has definitely proven themselves. You know, long road for them as well. I mean, last year, Titan, you guys came close to doing it, bringing it all the way up to a Game 5. But regardless of the fact, I think everyone knew at that moment that it was only a matter of time before a team from Europe claimed the title. North America has been dominant, don't get me wrong. But Europe, I mean, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. Adonis, any thoughts?
Epsilon, we're the best team here. That is completely undisputed. And, they deserve all the praise.
Actually, you know what? I think we're going to take this time to award the
nice
MVP.
Huh?
So, Adonis?
Everyone on Epsilon played phenomenally. There was Adapt King, but there was one player who was there every single game playing the best he could. And it was honestly Yammyn. Congratulations. The Azubu most valuable player for the SWC 2016.
Congratulations. Grab the mic.
Grab the mic.
How do you feel, man?
It's fucking amazing. I can't even talk.
So, I guess now that you guys are champions, is, you know, Ataraxia said Europe, best region. Is that true?
Of course.
Of course.
What is her name?
I did see the games. Well, Cloud9 was a great series. Actually, I did want to ask you, though, you know, I guess that Game 3, the picks just seemed to have gone your way. But you were consistent throughout this entire tournament, which is the reason why we selected you as the MVP. What do you think it was that you did this time around that really put you over the edge, man?
I mean, I don't know. Yeah.
Could you
I
just
got
play?
I got the snake. I got the snake, man.
All right, well, I know you guys are still getting over it, so congratulations once again, fellas. You guys are incredible. Let's actually bring everyone up here as well, just like we did last year. I mean, seriously, this was not only the best way to kick off 2016, but it was last year my favorite event of the year, and this year it is no different. Guys, we'll go down the line at Ataraxia. We'll start with you. Closing thoughts.
I mean, what a fantastic tournament. Every team came out to play, and I am very proud to say that Epsilon have truly deserved to be the best team in the world.
All right, Incon.
What a brilliant tournament that we've had here, guys. We had so many fans coming out to support all of these wonderful teams. Can we get a round of applause for all the amazing teams that came out here to play? Absolutely
Indeed.
fantastic. And
Indeed.
congratulations to Epsilon Esports and winning the entire tournament.
What? Yeah, you want to say something? Go ahead, champ. So long as it's nice.
Yeah, it's going to be nice, man.
Okay.
I just want to say a big thank you to the crowd that turned up. They were roaring, dude. They were roaring off the plays. I just wanted to make one last roar for us. Epsilon, boys.
Adonis.
That was delayed, but can I hear a louder one? Let's go!
Oh, there you go. There you go. There you go.
There we go, easy.
I have to agree with iRaffer. You know, there was USA chants, there was America chants, there was Epsilon chants. The crowd cheered for everyone. They weren't here, you know, representing regions. They were here representing Smite. Everyone, every fan, every community member, they were so thoughtful and they supported every single team regardless. They just wanted to see good Smite, and I think we saw the best Smite we've ever seen. Epsilon fully deserved everything. They worked for this so hard. Enemy as well. Full shout outs to Enemy.
That's right.
Everyone
that's
in the crowd. That was not an easy set for Epsilon. It was so close. And those boys, everyone doubted them. They're still the second place team at Worlds. They still are the best in America, potentially. That team is legit. All those players are going to come back for Season 3, and they're going to get the respect they deserve that time.
So before we close it out, I actually want to, I know this is not on the script, but I see two people there who contribute so much to Smite Esports. APC, come over here. Adam, come over here. Come on, man. Come on, come over. hi-rez, come on. Let's go. Come on. Come on. Stu, come up here. Let's go. This is you guys. You already made your, all right, hi-rez already made his cameo, so that's okay. Stu as well. These guys, without them, honestly, a lot of this would not be possible. So a big thank you to those guys as well. But, I mean, that's going to do it for us here at the Alienware Analyst Desk. That's going to do it for us here at the Smite World Championships. But before I go, I just want to say that if there's one thing I learned this weekend, it's that the Smite community is one of the most passionate communities that I've ever seen in any game. And I've commentated games all across the world, and I've never seen anything to the degree that Smite has presented itself. And on top of which, I just wanted to say, if you're out there watching from home, now is your opportunity. This game will blow up. Smite is here to stay. It is one of the premier esports in the world, and I want to see it continue to skyrocket. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been, take your money, that was all me. This has been the Smite World Championships 2016. It has been an absolute pleasure. Good night, good luck, good game.
Really great.
Good game.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, guys.
Yep.